Hello, Brandon Robert and Justin Deactivere from Night Nail. Welcome to the show.
Thanks
Hey,
for
Davey.
having us.
Yeah,
Happy to be
really
here.
great to see you guys. It's been a long time. Last time we spoke at length, it was in the autumn of 2016 when I was doing the Hanging Garden radio show. And you guys were in town in San Francisco, and you stopped by the radio station, and we had a really nice conversation. And I will, for those of you watching on Twitch, I will provide you with a link for that interview if you want to listen to a 4-year-old interview in the chat room. And for those of you watching on YouTube and listening on Mixcloud, I'll provide the link in the About section for that interview. It was really good discussion. So in that time, a lot's happened. LA Demons came out, which was a big hit and a great record. So congratulations on that. And since then, let's see, you released a couple of singles. One of them, Republican Marriage. Is that going to be on the new record, or is that as kind of a standalone single?
No, that's going to be on the new record.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about the new record. When is it due out? Let's see, I'm trying to bring up my notes here. Yeah, just go ahead and tell me more about it. It's called March to Autumn. I believe it's due out in October on Cold Transmission. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's you want to take this, Brandon?
Yeah, sure. You got it, Davey. That's it's the record is done, and it's now being produced in vinyl and CD format, and it'll be physical form and digital form out, ready to go in October. On Cold Transmission Records, which is a great independent record label from Frankfurt, Germany. And we got hooked up with them kind of through friends of friends. They knew about my wife's band, Valentina's band, already, and then they discovered Night Nail through her. And they've just kind of been helping us every step of the way, kind of since we arrived, actually. So it's a real, the union makes sense in a lot of ways. It's practical, but also it has a natural feel to it.
No, it totally makes sense. Looking at their roster, you guys fit right in. It's full of a bunch of really great bands. So congratulations.
Yeah, I'm really happy too, because it seemed like the perfect fit. It seemed like it was kind of just like meant to go there. The first time I met them was just at some beer garden. We were supposed to play a show and they'd come to town to see us. But then there was some stuff that happened. The show got canceled. So Brandon said, will you go meet this record label? And so I just showed up at just like this beer garden somewhere and just met them. And they were really, really, really nice people. And so the next time they were in town, I'm like, yes, I'm going to come back. We're going to hang out some more.
Good.
So, yeah. But I think Brandon, did you know the date that the pre-order is going to start?
I don't. Yeah, I think I don't have that handy. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We'll keep people updated.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, who is on the record? Who played what?
Well, Brandon and I played a lot of stuff. And then Brandon's wife, Valentina of Vivian the Void, she also contributed vocals on a lot of the tracks. Steve, our friend Steve Fleet, contributed some guitars. Our other friend Ilya contributed some bass lines. And then it was also Manuel.
Manuel, yeah, Wagner, yep.
Yeah.
He's a friend of ours, and he's a young guy. He just put some guitar on Republican Marriage, actually.
Yeah.
Which in answer to your earlier question, it is going to be on the record.
Yeah, great. Awesome. So let's go back in time a little bit. 2014, I think, is when you guys formed, or was it 2013? I'm always confused about that year.
It is worth mentioning that we made this last record, March to Autumn, which we're really, really really excited about and really, really proud of. Um, with the help and co-production of Pete Burns,
Yes.
who has a band called Kill Shelter. He actually played on some of the tracks as well, and he's an incredible talent to work with. We're very grateful.
Yeah, no, actually, the songs when Brandon and I finished writing them, recording them, we thought they were amazing. We thought they were great. We were super excited for this record, and then we started sending them to Pete, and the record we got back at the end of this process is just light years beyond what either of us, I think, could have ever imagined. Because when we were finished mixing it, it sounded cool, and like now I go back to listen to those things, and it sounds like we played some like little stuff on a little Casio keyboard, and it sounds bubbly and cute. Whereas like the record that we're going to release is just like so nicely polished, and everything's just super just in its place, and it sounds really really good. So
Good.
yeah,
I'm excited to hear it. That's
Pete
awesome.
Burns is amazing. And a bunch of other people who have worked with him, we all have nothing but good things to say about him.
Cool. Yeah, I've definitely heard good things as well. So you guys are the two main members of the band right now and kind of throughout your history, right?
I think
Justin joined the band after I kind of started it, but he's been there pretty much all along. Yeah, yeah. He definitely has changed the role, and he'll tell you all about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like Brandon, I mean, Night Nail kind of went through before it became Night Nail. Brandon was recording some tracks. I remember he was sending them to me. He was still living down in LA. I was living up in Oakland. He's like, hey, check out this stuff. And there was like various like names he was releasing stuff under. And a lot of those songs ended up becoming, you know, on that first EP that we released. But then there was the time, you know, like my time in Oakland kind of had come to an obvious end. Like I wasn't necessarily like in a good place there. And Brandon's just like, hey, I'm putting together a band. Come down here. You can be a part of it. And so, you know, I jumped in my truck. He like actually had to send me money to continue like getting all the way there because I was stuck in the middle of California. But yeah, like I showed up, and I think I showed up in, it was like 2013.
One moment, you get to step away just a second.
Yeah. So it was like 2013. Like I showed up in LA, and Brandon had basically assembled the band, and so I was just playing keyboards in it. And there was like 5 people. There was a drummer, this other guitarist, Justin Lummery, this guy James on bass, and Brian Panzeri on drums. And so, you know, Brandon had written these songs, so we learned the songs, and that was basically the original Night Nail, was basically doing these songs that Brandon had written. And then we started to try and write as a group, and that was a big learning process of how do you write a song with 5 people. And so there was challenges with that, and then a lot of that, some of that was still on our first EP. I believe Nowhere was like the first song we all wrote together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We definitely have gone through a lot of changes, like as far as lineups go and the creative input, because I don't think those are always one and the same. Just because somebody's in the band doesn't mean they're contributing a lot, or vice versa. But you know, now that it's primarily Justin and I writing the songs, the one constant I can really think about and really put my finger on that's always been with Night Nail since the beginning was, you know, whoever had the best idea, put it forward, and that would win the day. And a couple of times, I think we were supposed to get together for a writing session for this album, and I think I got sick, and I called Justin and I said, hey, I can't get together today. He goes, okay, no problem. And then that same day, he went on a train all the way out to his studio in Marzahn, which is a 45-minute train ride outside of Berlin, to go record 2 songs by himself. And those 2 songs he brought back to me, and those 2 songs are my favorite songs in the album. They're going to be FTL and in March to Autumn title track. So and I was just floored by what he brought back, and I was really impressed. And so that constant of, if you've got a better idea than me, then that's we're gonna go with. And we've
And
always
and
had that.
and to be honest, a lot of the songs, the other songs on the record, Brandon will have an idea and we'll go in, spend a lot of time like, okay, what about here? What about here? What about here? And it's always like, okay, what is best for the song? So we have to take our egos out of it. Like, I wrote this part, I really like it, I'm attached to it, but actually it sucks. It's like the other idea is better. And so we actually have to like put our egos aside. And so working just really closely with Brandon just on this record, this whole process, we got actually really good at that, to be able to kind of separating ourselves
Got
from the
into like a flow of kind of checking each other's ego, which
right. And so for these two songs,
can create conflict also.
the two songs that Brandon's talking about, well, like the FTL song, like I had written like an entire song. Like in my head, it was just like this very synth heavy song. And so then I'm sitting with Brandon, and he's like pulling it apart, like, no, 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 no. And I'm like fighting him. And eventually I just had to realize, hey, like, he doesn't do this when he presents me a song. And then I was taking off for Barcelona for the winter. And so I just like handed it to him and like, just do something with it. Just like do what you will with it. Like try
But
to
you
keep
were
it
scared though, Justin. You were scared to leave those two songs with me, weren't you?
I
Admit it.
was, but then I remember getting them back. I'm like, okay, whoa, this is really amazing. This is way better than whatever I was trying to hold on to. And I think with the March to Autumn, the title track, I was in Barcelona. I was like holed up in some hotel because like COVID had already hit the city, and like I knew that some sort of Italian style lockdown was going to come. And then I just opened up my email, and Pete had sent us the first mix for the March to Autumn song, and I fell in love. I was like, I didn't know this song could be like this. It was I had basically handed Brandon something very bare bones, and what came back like ended up becoming the title track on the record.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing phenomenon when somebody else can bring out elements of a song that you wrote that you didn't even know were in there or possible, right?
Yeah, and also I think I had learned my lesson with the FTL experience where I like overwritten the song and then I went absent. And so with the March to Autumn song, it was like, Brandon, I don't know if this main song, is this cheesy? Is this amazing? I can't tell. It's one of those things you see that like a code at a thrift store and you buy it because you can't tell if you hate it or you love it. And so like, okay, like,
Just do it on faith,
yeah,
basically.
you do something with this. And I basically underdeveloped the song, and I just had like these like kind of general elements, and then Brandon just took it and he organized it into a song, wrote lyrics for it, and I think it's a really strong track.
So that track actually is being released today when we're recording this. This is going to air on Monday the 17th, but we're talking on Tuesday the 11th, and FTL is being released today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Davey.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the March to Autumn, the track that was like really underdeveloped, isn't going to come out until the full record is being released. But FTL, which was one where I was being a little stubborn boy on, like that's the one that was released initially at the Gothic Cat Festival, which is an online festival to raise money for the COVID crisis. But then we're releasing our video today through Cold Transmission, so everyone can purchase it or download it.
Good. Excellent. So what does the future look like for you guys? Do you have plans for another album? Are you already starting to work on it? What do you think the future holds?
I don't know personally. It's so hard to tell in these times. There's so much that's unknown, but I think, the idea is for us to keep creating and keep our creative output high. When we started this album before COVID really took hold here in Europe, and then we ended up mixing it during our lockdown time. So I would say Justin and I are like pretty hard workers normally, but as a result of COVID and coronavirus, we really upped our game and we worked even harder. It was really like the fire under our asses to get, you know, a really, really great record going. So I imagine that we will keep up that momentum and just keep writing. But I think for us, the next step, literally tomorrow and the next day and in the next few months, is to figure out how we're going to play these songs live when we can play live again, hopefully next year. We're supposed to play Begite and Owls and Bats Festival and another show in Ilmenau, Germany in January. We'll see what happens. We're not, you know, we're not expecting anything at this point. But yeah, so we just need to learn how to present these songs live and with a lot of enthusiasm and be into it ourselves so that the audience is going to respond well.
And as far as the creative process, you guys are used to working long distance, right? Brandon, you're living in Berlin, and Justin, where are you living right now?
I'm not in Berlin right now. Right now I'm in Malmo, Sweden, but
Right.
I live in Berlin as well. So I actually live
Okay.
like 10-minute walk away from him.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that you guys were living in.
Super close. It's like I could take a transport or I can just walk, and it's super easy. I mean, but when we're writing, we're in a studio setting where we're not sitting there jamming out a song. We're looking at like a particular part of the song. It's like, okay, how does this fit? Like, does this need something else? Like, how do we want to write this? So when it comes to performing it live, or like we have to figure out, okay, how do we fit everything into our hands and get on a train or a bus and get to the show and put on a good show? Because I mean, if it's the two of us, or we now have somebody who's going to be playing some guitar or bass or keyboards with us, but like, how do we, if we have to take a train to get to another town to play a show, like we want that show to be the best show that people can see, but you know, we have to know what we're actually going to play and what is going to be coming out of the little sampler that like is running the backing tracks. Because
and we are also extremely, not to cut you off, Justin, we are also extremely adverse to doing things long distance. You know, we were working with an LA producer before. Now we're working with somebody in Edinburgh, Scotland for this last record, Pete Burns. So literally, we have adapted our style of communication so that we can do mixes via Google Doc. And Pete would send us a mix. We would enter in our comments and explain our vision for the song and ask him to implement changes back and forth for months.
Yeah.
So it's a very different way to make music, but you know, it also, like, you get really good at communicating what it is you want in a polite, respectful manner, which is important to achieve, you know, the record of your dreams, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was a different sort of experience because we basically have to itemize our notes. Say, okay, going through the song, or like, here, I don't like this. And it's also kind of hard when you're saying, okay, I'm hearing something that's kind of like this on this thing, and can you make it different? And you have to learn how to be very kind of specific, saying, okay, the guitar track, like 6B, like is doing this thing. And, you know, it just,
there's times where it does feel a little too surgical, though. You know, there's times where I just was like, wait a minute, am I working on Google Docs or am I making music? I don't know what's going on. So in the end, it worked out, but like it's you know, it's a way to, like, you have to train your brain to think differently in order to make music. And I think
there was
that's
a period. There was a period during the lockdown where I was sick for about 5 weeks.
Ooh.
Like, couldn't get out of my bed, like, for barely, like, for most of the day, for like 5 weeks. I got tested for COVID multiple times, and apparently I didn't have it. But Brandon's like writing me, okay, man, you've got to respond to these Google Docs, and I was like, I hate this album right now so much because it was just miserable. Eventually, I got better, and then we actually slowed down, because initially we were trying to do all the tracks at the same time, and we actually I got better and we actually slowed the whole process down. Because one of the things that I had a conversation with Pete Burns, and he said, you know, you're not going to make a great record through compromising. So if it takes a million back and forth with me, that's what it takes. And that's one of the reasons why working with Pete was so amazing, was because he knew that he couldn't compromise and get what you wanted. You know,
That
like,
is so amazing to have a producer that's on your side like that, you know, because in the recording process, I think that musicians feel like they don't want to be too much of a burden on the person that's mixing or whatever. And you feel like you only have a certain number of back and forths and edits and stuff that you can do before you're going to burn them out, and, you know, they're not going to want to work with you again or something.
right. There was actually like this one
stuff with
breakdown.
this. Yeah, we did push him quite a bit, but there were times where we were just pushing really hard for it. You know, we were like, we're not gonna just be okay with this one particular mix, and we've got to change it. And you know, he's like, well, I'm getting busy, blah blah blah. But you know, you learn to gauge how far you're pushing people and what they can do and what they can't do. You know, by having good boundaries. And Pete has a really good workflow, and he's a very, like I said, respectful musician. He's an artist himself, and then he also, you know, co-produces and produces music. So that unique position can, you know, allowed us to push each other further and push the boundaries a little bit so that we could achieve what we wanted to achieve.
Well, you guys are a delight to be around anyway, so anybody would enjoy working with you guys and have whatever patience it takes to make a really great record. So I'm really excited about the new record. It's due out in October. Follow Night Nail on Bandcamp and Facebook to receive updates about the pre-orders for that, and look for the FTL single, which is out now. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and really looking forward to the record.
Thank you, Davey. Thanks for having us. And be well, everybody. We miss you a lot. We wish we were in California too. Sometimes.
Oh, we miss you in the Bay Area so much. You know, the DJs here really play your music a lot, so you're thought of very often.
All right. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Hi everyone, hope you liked that video. If so, please like and subscribe to receive notifications when we upload more content. New Music Mondays is a live stream show every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on twitch.tv/DaveyBonesOakland. It features myself and a weekly guest DJ spinning new releases in the world of dark music, post-punk, goth, dark wave, as well as interviews with the people that make the music happen. So it's a lot of fun. Make sure to join us live. Again, that's every Monday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., or actually about 9:30 Pacific time. The audio will always be uploaded the next day to my Mixcloud page, mixcloud.com/DaveyBonesOakland. And thanks for watching the video on YouTube. The interviews will all be uploaded to the YouTube channel, as well as an occasional kind of behind the scenes video as well. All right. Thanks again.